Good evening, everyone. My name is Chris Cooper, known as the Channel Guy Trader, and I'm reporting to you live from Wall Street Trading Satellite Office down in sunny South Florida. Today's date is Tuesday, January the 8th, 2013, and here is today's After the Bell Market Summary brought to you by WallStreetTrading.com. Want to first start by taking a look to see how the indices closed the session out here today. The Dow Jones closed down close to 55.5 points, down just about 55.5 points here. The Nasdaq closed down just about 8.5 points, and the S&P 500 closed down almost 5 points, down 4.74. If we take a look to see how the breadth was on the market today, we had 3,456 issues declining. We had 2,738 issues advancing. So we had breadth more in favor of the bears today, and we did see that across the board, as we did have some weakness in some stocks. Even though some stocks are still performing well, as we continue to kind of feel this underlying bid in the market, at least with some of the stocks that I'm seeing and how I'm seeing the market react around key levels. And we're going to talk about that here shortly. So let's go ahead and take a look at the daily chart of the SPY. SPY daily chart is what you see on the screen right here. We're still consolidating, holding the gap up from last week Wednesday when the markets opened back up there, and that level on the SPY is down there around 144.73, the low of that opening gap. So as long as we can continue to hold above 144.73, expect some sideways consolidation as we digest this move right here and look for a continued push higher as the trend looks to be back to the top side. The weekly chart looks pretty good. The monthly charts look pretty good. And we went over that in the weekend review, which you can find on our YouTube channel at My Wall Street TV. So in any case here, as long as this SPY can hold above this 144.68 level and we continue to see this nice little steady consolidation right here, we're going to be looking for stocks setting up to the long side. And however, even if we do pull back and we break down a little bit below this 144.68, the market looks pretty good. We could get some back and fill action, which would be pretty good, because then we could buy some of these stocks that made these nice moves at better support levels, where we can manage our risk a little bit better there. So anyway, the SPY, that's your range, 144.68, 146.61, and expect some more, most likely some more consolidation here as we're waiting for prices set up a little bit better. Let's take a look at the IWM here. IWM pretty much flat for the day, down 6 cents, down 0.07%. Same thing, consolidating here, holding that opening gap low down there around 86.04, call it 86. Top, the high of that range here is 87.44, call it 87.50. So really until we break above 87.50 and hold above that level, or we break below 86 and hold below that level, you can expect this consolidation to continue right up here, which is pretty good if you're looking for the market to move to continue to the top side. And let's take a look at the triple Qs. The Nasdaq has been showing a little bit of relative weakness intraday, but it's doing the same thing. You can see the Nasdaq has already broken below that opening gap low down there. However, we are holding that 66.5 level, and as long as we can continue to hold around this area and consolidate a little bit up here, and if the ES breaks out along with the IWM, we can expect this to make a move back to the top side and try to break over this 67.38 level there. Okay, so another thing that I want to take a look at with you guys is the dollar chart, dollar futures here. Dollar futures, nice green day today, making another move to the top side. All right, making another move to the top side today here, and you can see this is actually for tomorrow's session right there. Of course, it's open overnight, so that's how it's looking right there. But the dollar futures continue to hold above that key level that I've been discussing from the range, from all the consolidation of price that has been going through these key levels there, and you can see we're back above that 80.25. All right, so this could be setting up for a move back up to the top side. Maybe that's why we're seeing some weakness in the gold stocks. I mean, gold got a bounce today, but some of the miners continue to look weak. You can see here GLDs starting to close below the 200-day moving average right here. If you can see here, we closed below the 200-day moving average for 3 sessions here. We're pretty much just chopping around here on these levels of 160. If you take a look at the dollar of the gold futures chart, which is the chart I like to watch more than the GLD, you can see here that we're still holding that key trend line, which I have marked here with these little yellow oval shapes here at the bottom of those trend lines to show you guys the trend line that we're paying close attention to. All right, and you can see same thing. We got a little bounce off that level there. All right, and we're going to wait to see how this sets up. If we continue to hold this 1640 and we continue to see this little bid come down here and go to this little bid down here and gold hold, we'll start looking for some gold setups, which are starting to shape up a little bit, but they look like they need a little bit more time because we could still break down. All right, let's take a look at the GDX. The GDX actually went from negative to positive today. That was pretty good. I know GG had some news out. I believe they were offering monthly dividend. I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to go back and take a look at the news. But I do know the stock gapped down and it traded pretty well. It's held up pretty well. And now if you take a look at the GDX here, you can see it's holding this nice 44 level down here. And that's going to be a nice little reference level to work off of because you can see we bounced off out of that area once, twice, and the third time, thrice. And that's how it's looking right there. So as long as we can continue to hold 44, keeping on these gold miners. Again, I like the way that GG was able to recover from its gap down. And, really the stock could be back in play if we can get back above 37. So I'm definitely going to be keeping a close eye on it. Had some nice volume. If this thing could get back above 37, that will definitely bring it to my front list of the gold miners for a possible reversal back to the top side. And then if it gets back over 38, that'll be pretty good as well. Let's take a look at SLV, silver. SLV holding that key 29 level there. Not really much to talk about here in silver, but it is holding that key 29 level. Let's take a look at crude oil via the USO first. And USO was up 4 cents today. Nothing crazy there. You can see we're basically consolidating below this 200-day simple moving average and exponential moving average on the USO, which is around the 34.11 area and the 34.30 area. So you can see here the bottom of that little range that we've been in is around 33.56. The little top of this range is coming in around here around 34.10, basically getting held down by this moving average right here, which is the 200-day exponential moving average. We take a look at crude oil futures, which of course I like to look at both. You can see crude oil futures, remember here, the crude oil futures are right back at this prior support, which acted as support here, but now that it broke down, it's resistance on this side. So we got to be careful if you're buying crude oil up here. Maybe wait for some type of high base to set up for a little range and then a break. We'll have to see how that sets up. Even though if we have some momentum come in the energy markets here in the crude oil market, we can definitely catch this thing for a nice little break, as there's going to be a lot of stops. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of stops set at this level right here for people that are short crude oil or people that are looking to get involved to the crude oil and to the long side. They have maybe some buy stops up there, and some people looking to cover their shorts if they're short with some buy stops up there. So in other words, 94 is a key level. If we were to break past 94, we could see a nice momentum bar. Basically what I'm trying to say. All right, so that's how that's looking. Let's take a look at the volatility index, see how the VIX closed the session out today, down 17 cents. I mean, of course, volatility looks like it wants to go lower. It just doesn't really feel like there's any fear in the market. Like I said, there still seems to be like an underlying bid in the market, and it's this VXX, or I should say this VIX, starts to break below and hold below 13, then takes out this. Starts to break below this 1350, then takes out this 1325 area. We can see it move back down towards 13 and possibly back down towards these 12s down here, which would be pretty interesting if that was to happen, as that would definitely show that there's just a lot of people that are looking to get involved in equities, and nobody's really looking to buy some protection on that. So let's take a look at some key stocks. Well, some stocks that we're watching today were Monsanto, Potash, GME, Yum. I discussed that in the midday market update, which we have on our YouTube channel at My Wall Street TV. You can go check our YouTube channel at My Wall Street TV and see our videos. Or you can go to the website, wallstreettrading.com, click on the upper right-hand side, My Wall Street TV, and you can see our video archives that we have there. Got a lot of interesting things up in the loop, so make sure you go check that out. What else is? So let's take a look at some stocks. I just got finished researching some stocks, and there's some decent-looking stocks out there. As far as trades for tomorrow, I know you guys want to hear those right there. I'm going to be watching this Lulu, LULU. Has a nice little hammer that it put down here for today's session, and you can see there's some support that's being bought down here for the past 3 days. Every time it dips near these 70s, it gets bought up, and today it formed a nice little hammer. And then when you go to your 60-minute chart, which is the chart that I like to go to when I'm looking after the daily chart to see how I plan on attacking the stock per se, you can see here it's kind of forming this nice little range here between 70. All right, and then the 72 level there. So if it can start to hold above 72, this thing can maybe get some nice little gap fill action as the gap fills all the way up here at 75. You can see a possible little inverse head and shoulders pattern right here as well on the hourly at an angle. So that looks pretty interesting to me. Then I go to my 15-minute chart and I say, this looks even better because, if it breaks past these 72s, should trigger some longs for people looking to get involved right here. So out of this little 3-day range it's been in. So this is one of my bread and butter setups. So I'm definitely going to be keeping an eye on Lulu tomorrow, and you should do the same. Possible for a bounce. If it does not bounce and continues to chop around, then it's not ready yet, because it could be setting up for a move lower off this gap. But if the market's strong and people are looking to get into some retail stocks, keep an eye on this one as it has a lot of free space to run up right back up towards these gap and these moving averages right there. All right, what else? I like this JP Morgan. The banks are looking pretty good. JP Morgan is on highs. I believe we have Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has earnings on Fridays. They're going to be the first bank to report, I believe. But these banks look interesting going into earnings. They're trending up pretty nice. Weekly charts look decent. Monthly charts are shaping back up. The daily charts look great. So keep an eye on JP Morgan. Citigroup was pretty strong today, recovering off the lows pretty well. And you can see that's holding those key short-term moving averages right there. They have earnings They have their earnings report next week, and then you can take a look at Goldman Sachs. Goldman Sachs is really just consolidating up here, and as long as it continues to hold above this 132, you can maybe look for this to be setting up for a nice little 3-bar pullback pop up. We'll see how that sets up. Some other stocks I'm looking at to the long side tomorrow: Red Hat, RHT. I like the way that this one's setting up. I definitely like this one on the hourly chart. This is actually on my A list for tomorrow. Take a look at the 60-minute chart that's set up on it. Nice, nice, nice. Again, my favorite type of setups where you have a nice little range to work off of to manage your risk. And then we look for that momentum to come in with that volume, which is slowly picking back up again right here. I'm going to be looking for a break over 55 to take it back to the top side. This is kind of like a little bull flag setup. Your nice little up move, sideways consolidation. And we're going to be looking for this thing to trade to the top side. So this is on my A list for tomorrow. Daily chart, you can see it's pushing up right here against this 200-day simple moving average. And if it breaks over 55, we're going to be looking for this thing to go up towards 55.5, 56. Keep an eye on Red Hat. Some stocks that I'm watching to the short side tomorrow. You can take a look at this UNH. Stock has been weak. I was looking for it to break down yesterday, but you guys know how some of these stocks like to trade and shake people out of the short side first and go down the next day. Well, that's what UNH did. And now, since it looks like it wants to go down, you have 2 confirmation lower closes here at the bottom of the screen. We're going to be looking for this one to continue to trade to the downside for a break below 51.35, 51.25 or so. Then obviously we want to see it go below 51. They do have earnings coming out next week, and you can see they're starting to trend down going into those earnings. That's pretty interesting to note as well. What else? Some of the semiconductor stocks are weak. ALTR, Altera. Looks like it could roll over. It does have a lot of moving averages right here. But if you take a look at the 60-minute chart, you can see this one's below all the short-term moving averages. A little down move, sideways action. Could be setting up a bear flag. Not my A list to the short side, but something that I wanted to share with you guys. Because then if you take a look at CLAC looks as if it wants to roll over as well. And you can see here, this one could be breaking the possible upward channel. So definitely keep an eye on these semiconductor stocks. CLAC being one that could be showing us some weakness, breaking out this little upward channel. Take a look at the 60-minute chart, and you can see here the trend is starting to pick up to the downside. You can see once it was trading, once it stopped closing above 49, basically, that's when those sellers started coming in. Closed above 49 for 1, 2, 3 days, couldn't break past 49 the second time. Boom, sellers come in. All right, so it's just something to realize, just something to notice right there. So that's about it, guys. I'll have more ideas tomorrow in the live trading room. Actually, I have one more idea. That's going to be Sears to the short side, SHLD. You can see here it's been in this nice little 6-month range or so that broke down, and really until Sears gets above this 47 level, continues to look weak as we have another range consolidation that looks as if it's setting up for another move to the downside. So you got to be careful with the Sears. Keep an eye on it. If it breaks below 38.42, could see lower prices. Weekly and the monthly chart do not look great at all. In any case, have a great day, guys. I'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning. mywallstreettv.com. Password and login is smart. And have a good night. Cheers.